What's up guys? So this is a response to Howcast series How to Work Out at the Gym by Max Tapper. He is an actor, so I don't know if that's his real name, but fucking hell, that'd be a fantastic fucking porn star name. Maybe he's in the wrong profession. Going off this series, I think he probably is. But yeah, I decided to do this series after another YouTuber responded to a Howcast series and rightfully mocked it, but then in the description box he said, "Oh, but their bodybuilding stuff is really fucking good." I strongly disagree with that. Now, I'm not going to mention who that other larger YouTuber is, because I do actually have a lot of respect for him. I don't want him to be getting any hate because he recommended that channel. He doesn't know any better, and it's not his fault he doesn't know any better. You know, finding good information in regards to this stuff is very, very tricky as a beginner. Now, I also don't want Max Tapper to get any particular hate for this either. I don't really know much else about the guy, and honestly, you know, I don't know how much of this is his fault. You know, he's obviously contracted to do this for Howcast, and I don't know how much creative control he had, whether he did the whole thing himself, or whether he was given a list of topics to make 2 to 3 minute videos about, or even if he was given an entire fucking script to parrot. So I don't want Max Tapper to get any hate for this either, and if I do end up screaming profanities at the screen, which probably will happen quite frankly, that is for entertainment purposes, so this is purely for entertainment and educational purposes. By all means, go on to their videos and say, "Yo, you're wrong, here's why," but, you know, try to be a bit civil about it. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Okay, so we're at the title, and I already have some fucking issues with this video. So first off, how to work out at the gym. For fucking who? Who are you talking about? We're talking about beginners, intermediate, advanced, talking about people who are interested in bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, improving for a sport, or are we talking about people with more general goals? You know, it's never said in this entire fucking series. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume we're talking about beginners, because intermediates and advanced are not watching a bloody Howcast series looking for advice. It's not fucking happening. And also, I'm going to assume we're talking about people with quite general goals, because Max does mention about cardio and flexibility later on. And so, yeah, I'm going to assume we're talking about people with quite general goals. They want to get a bit leaner, they want to get a bit stronger, they want to get a bit more muscular and improve their athletics performance a bit and that kind of thing. So the title, How to Have a Chest Workout, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't have a title here in front of me. But that's a really bad idea for beginners. Beginners should be focusing on full body workouts. And the reason for this is that after you finish having a workout, your muscles are only growing for about 2 days after that, absolute tops. So that's 5 days out of 7 where your muscles aren't growing. So that's a really inefficient way of doing things. Now, you will put on a lot of muscle eventually doing body part splits, but the key word there is eventually. It's a really inefficient way of doing things. And I would also like to say that for more advanced lifters, yeah, the rules do change a bit, and there's quite a few reasons for that. So maybe they're working out 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 times a day, so they are working out their chest 2 or 3 times a week. Fatigue management comes into play. Certain drugs will extend the period of time that your muscles carry on growing. There's quite a lot of different reasons why you might choose to do body part splits as a more advanced lifter, but that's really beyond the scope of this video. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that quite often I will see absolute beginners going on to advanced lifters' channels and telling them they don't know what they're doing because they're doing a body part split. But they could have legitimate reasons for doing so. So yeah, if you're a beginner and you're just starting to get out, you're just starting to work out, you're just starting to learn what you're doing, after watching this video, you're barely going to be over the peak of Mount Stupid. You really don't know that much, so don't go on to advanced lifters videos and tell them they don't know what they're doing, because the chances are it's actually you who doesn't know what they're doing still. So with that out the way, let's continue.
Let's start from this. Very importantly, your first exercise you should choose should always be the one that you can lift the most amount of weight. All right? So that's either going to be a dumbbell press or a barbell press like this. Our second exercise we're going to choose is going to be something that's going to fatigue our muscles even more. You could use something even lighter and go for more reps. Our third exercise we'll choose is going to be something that's more of like a burn down, right? Which is going to get to the deeper muscle fibers and really fatigue that muscle.
So as Max says in his video, this method is called a compound set. You take 2 or 3 exercises back to back, which all target the same muscle group to a decreasing degree each time, and you do it with no rest. I've got no problem with this necessarily. It is very, very efficient time-wise, but it can be very, very fatiguing if you do it too regularly. You know, if all your workouts follow this that same plan for each target muscle group, yeah, it's going to be really fatiguing. And if you're training for another sport at the same time, that could end up taking away from your performance. I think you're better off just sticking to straight sets with enough rest between that you can actually finish all of your reps. But yeah, this method has a very, very similar effect on the target muscles to a drop set, if not identical. And Max himself says that you shouldn't do this too regularly in a later video in the series.
The very important thing here is going to be rep range. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, we're going to choose a certain rep range to get that result. Now, if it's hypertrophy or if it's aesthetics, like changing your body, shaping your body, then 10 to 12 is always going to be that sweet spot. That's a place that I love to stay at. So we're going to have 12 reps of our barbell press. Okay? Then we're going to go into a dumbbell press on an incline bench for 12 reps, and then push-ups on the floor for 12 reps or as many as you can until you burn out.
The effect of using different rep ranges for different goals is important, but it's often over-exaggerated. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on. But that being said, they are clearly very important to Max. You know, Max does have some quite absolutist rules on staying in the 8 to 12 rep range for hypertrophy. And if that's the case, if that's his view, then he's made a bit of error in his reasoning here. You see, if you're doing 3 exercises back to back with 12 reps each, you're not really working in the 12 rep range anymore. If you've got enough energy left in the tank after the first exercise to go on and do 2 more exercises in the 12 rep range, then you're probably strong enough to do 15 to 20 reps with the first exercise, so you're not really working in the 12 rep range at that point.
You got it? All right, let's go.
So when you do a bench press, you touch the chest every single rep, or it's no longer a bench press. You can either touch and go, and that's called a touch and go bench, or you can pause and then press, and that's called a paused bench press. Now, I think the reason Max wasn't touching his chest is that his elbows were flared way too high, and effectively what happens is, like that, you know, very, very difficult to get it further down. I probably could just about pull it into my chest, but at this point I'm feeling an awful lot of strain on the shoulder joints. And the reason for that, the elbows are too flared, I'm gripping too wide, and long term that can be really, really bad for your shoulder health. So I don't really care where you grip it, as long as you're not feeling any strain on your shoulder when you bring it into your chest. But yeah, that's the way you do it. The narrower you grip, the further it will be down on your chest, as your forearms should be at right angles to your body the whole way down the motion. The narrower you grip, the further down it's going to be to maintain that position. And yeah, that's the way you bench press. So there's a few reasons you should be touching the chest rather than just getting it like that. Firstly, measurable progress. You can lift far more when you're pushing it a shorter range of motion than you can if you're bringing it all the way down. And, you know, maybe you end up coming down to here with 60, and then you end up coming down to here with 80, and you end up just doing that when you've got 100. I've seen plenty of gym bros end up doing this, and you know, they've got no real way of knowing whether or not they're actually getting stronger or whether or not they're just deluding themselves into getting stronger. Secondly, strength and hypertrophy. You're going off of a longer range of motion, then your muscles are doing more work, and so you'll gain more muscle and more strength with the longer range of motion. So yeah, it's a better way of doing it. Now, there are various more advanced athletes who do have some benefits from putting more weight on and using a shorter range of motion, but as beginners, I really don't think you should be messing around with that stuff until you really know what you're doing. Third, safety. Safety is very, very important, and if you've got an amount of weight on the bar which you can only bring down to there safely, if you lose control of it and it comes down, that is going to come crashing into your chest, and you're going to have a far harder time getting it off of you than if you've got an amount of weight which you only just managed to fail to push up from here, because you've still got a lot of strength from that bottom position, and you'll be able to roll it down or push it off of you. So as far as safety is concerned, that's far better. If you having a weight which you can push from your chest is far better if you lose control than if it's an amount of weight which you can only push from about there. And finally, bragging rights, okay? You know, if somebody is telling me that they bench 160 kilos, but they only bring it down to there, then, you know, that's like somebody bragging about how fast they run 100 meters when they stop 60 meters down the track. It's a bit of an insult to those of us who actually do the fucking thing properly.
Hi guys, this is Max Tapper again for Howcast, and I'm going to show you guys how to do an awesome back workout. Now, I specifically chose 3 different exercises other than pull-ups, which are my favorite, because a lot of you guys have requested that.
Oh, we'll get to pull-ups later on, don't you worry.
Now, one I've chosen is a pull-down, lat pull-down, okay? Second one's going to be a bent-over dumbbell row, and the third one's going to be a rear delt fly. That would have targeted every single muscle in your back, help you get a nice beefy back with a lot of definition.
So none of these exercises target the spinal rectors at all, really, and none of them are that good for the traps either. And these are 2 of the biggest muscles in the back which are getting pretty heavily neglected. The rest of the issues I have with the video, I'm not going to play at all, but these are just personal differences in lifting philosophy. So I'd rather be doing lat pull downs of the hands this way than this way, simply because that brings the bicep into the equation more. It means you have to do less sets of curls if you want to bring your biceps up. So it's just a little bit more efficient. But absolutely nothing wrong with his form in the video for that exercise. Yeah, nothing I can critique at all. Looked fantastic. The other difference is I would rather be doing barbell rows than dumbbell rows, simply because most gyms don't have dumbbells which go up anywhere near heavy enough for long-term progress. The other reason is that it's also going to bring your spinal erectors into play. You know, if you're just supporting your weight with your other hand when you're doing it, you're not engaging your spinal erectors. So I think it's good from that perspective. Now, you might not necessarily want to engage to bring your spinal erectors into play. If you're squatting and deadlifting multiple times a week, that could overstress them, and the spinal erectors are pretty easy to overstress. So in that situation, I would be going for one-arm machine rows instead. One arm, doing exercises with one arm, the unilateral work is pretty good for certain things, and it will bring the obliques into play. So that's fantastic. But with dumbbells, they generally just don't go heavy enough. So in that circumstance, I'd rather be doing machine rows with one arm. But can't really criticize his form. Absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. So these are just personal differences when it comes to those exercises. So I think I'm going to wrap things up here. I am going to go over the rest of the series in the future, but this video is getting long enough as it is. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time for part 2.